In England today, you get free bus passes. And I'm 64 in April, and I received mine at 60. I hadn't been on a bus for 35 years, and I still haven't quite plucked up the courage to get on one. Because you're allowed to get on one at 9:30, and standing there with all the blue rinse, with their shopping bags ready to go. The last time I went on a bus, there was a pole at the back, and there was a conductor with tickets. And all I know is if you press the button, you were put off the bus. And this is not a joke. I've stood in the queue with my pass and have chickened out because I didn't know what to do when I got on it. And I'm the type of man I wouldn't want to ask. Because people think if you run a church and a lot of ministry and you hear from God, how don't you know how to get on a bus? But in the West Midlands, we can use the train as well. And so as soon as I got my pass, I worked on the basis was, if it's free, use it. So I got on the train, just to show the humanity I have. I got on the train to go into Birmingham, and I waited patiently for my first free trip, and they never asked me for a ticket. So I looked around the Christian bookshop and went back on the train. And they didn't ask me for the ticket. So I got back on the train again and went back into Birmingham. Because I was determined I was going to go free. And they never asked me for the ticket, which proves how many times you can get away with it. And so I waited for the Birmingham-London Express and got on that one. And he said, tickets, please. And I went, free. That's how sad I am. But the Bible says, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And so that's my life, really. But I've heard, what's happened is since I've had all these free tickets, you can actually now go all over the country, but you have to work it out. A guy's been all over the country in 2 weeks. You have to know where the one bus company finishes, and you get off and get on the next one to the end of that, and you keep going. And talking to some police friends of mine, they said, since the old people have had the freedom of free travel, what has happened is now that there's old people all over Britain who can't remember where they came from. Because it's taken them so long to get there. And so if you see people over 60 now with Paddington Bear labels on, it says, please return to number 33 High Street, Solihull. Isn't God good? You can laugh in church, you really can. Normally just before they carry you off in a box, but you can laugh in church. I go all around the country, been around the world really, preaching in different denominations. But I noticed a friend who I haven't seen for many years sitting in the congregation tonight, and he just took me back to, I went to Belfast. Unique when you'd never been to Northern Ireland before. Because they speak in a different language, a different accent. And they say words which are illegal in England. So I finished preaching the first night, they said, that's a wee bit of crack. And I looked at them and said, hey, that was true, isn't it? Hey, a wee bit of crack that was, great bit of crack. And I said, in England, you get arrested for having crack. Can you explain it? They said, it was good, wee bit of fun now, wee bit of crack now. So I thought, right, just remember not to say that this side of the ocean. Because if you said, I've had a wee bit of crack, that's you gone. But when we were in the meeting, in this church, they brought a man in who used to be a football manager, and they brought him from a hospice with 4 weeks to live. He was riddled with cancer. He smelt of death, because death has a smell. It has a taste, it has a look, it has a feel. We have 5 senses, and they're manifested in death. When I was a little